Hello, hello, and welcome to the Rock Metal Podcast. I'm your host, John Harris, and today on the Rock Metal Podcast, we have a genre defier. Actually, I think you came in as alternative rock / pop, but it's definitely something. I remember when Mish sent me your stuff, she's like, this is totally different than what we usually do. And I remember thinking, like, yeah, because she usually sends me metalcore stuff, and you are not metalcore.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not metalcore.
No. But anyway, so Monica, we have you on the show today, and you've got an album called Spirals that you're working on, and you got a couple of tracks that are currently available, Numb, A Long Farewell, and that's why your face is up behind me, because I was watching Numb, and then as well, it looks like a few days ago you just released a video of a behind the scenes.
Yeah, it's a little, like, video that the film crew did, kind of putting together the behind the scenes moments with the final product. It was really cool. It's about a minute long or something like that, but it gives a nice insight on the recording day.
Okay, very cool. So I will add that to today's show notes so that everybody who's listening or watching in right now, when they go into the show notes, they can click on that link and they can go see it, and they can spend a minute of their time a little more wisely.
Sure. I hope everyone enjoys that if you do check it out.
Now, if I haven't welcomed you to the show, welcome to the show, Monica.
Thank you so much, John. Thank you for having me. And as you were saying, I'm not metal. I'm not quite metal, but thank you for giving my project an opportunity to be here. Because for sure, a lot of my influences are definitely rock and metal. So,
well, and I don't not get that. We don't really have double negatives in English, but I don't not get that. And I've definitely had, for example, somebody who does cello only music, and we chatted about, well, how are you metal when you do cello? You know, instead of distorted guitars and double kick pedal stuff. And so something that we can get into is, okay, well, your music, with your approach, I still get that there's a rock vibe. I still get that there is, you know, that vibe in there. How do you do that? What is that vibe? What is, I guess, alt rock to you?
Well, I guess alternative is such a broad meaning in music. It can be really anything that doesn't quite fit in the pure rock or pure pop or whatever that means. I mean, what I try to do, my influences are definitely rock. I have some symphonic metal influences, gothic metal. So what I did basically was trying to come up with the same intensity using the instruments that I like to use. In this case, I love writing for strings. For all of my songs, I use a string quintet, so it's like a double bass, a cello, 2 violins, and a viola. And they are like the main protagonists. They're like my band, so to speak. I don't have any heavy guitars on my music because I felt that if I added them, then the strings would get lost in the mix, and I didn't want that. So I really focus on giving each instrument like a very specific role to bring out the intensity. Like every line has a rhythm that kind of works with the other line, and so you get this dynamic motion. And I think that's probably what still gives my music like a kind of like a rock vibe. I think.
Yeah, rock with a quintet. The original rock music. Now, I guess my question is, how do you do that? Because obviously there's a piano behind you. So is it, do you have that musical background that you're able to write for a quintet? Because I imagine that is not easy, especially to bring that into an actual pop time meter.
Yeah, so I come from a classical music background. I started my musical training as a classic pianist, and but I always knew that I didn't want to be like a concert piano player. I wanted to do composition. I love writing music, and so I spent about 5 years in a conservatory, and then I went to Berklee College of Music in Boston. There I did like a film scoring major, because I love film music and I love films and all that. So I think all of that training and education definitely helped me out to bring this vision to life, to be able to write for these instruments and have the experience of working with musicians closely and have that feedback on my writing and improve each time.
Uh-huh. Now, you mentioned Berklee and Boston, and I just made a Boston cream pie the other day. Do they call...
What? I've never heard of that before.
What? They don't have Boston cream pie in Boston?
I mean, I don't remember seeing it. What does it have?
It is a sponge cake with a vanilla custard in between the layers of the cake. Usually, the way that I made it anyway, but you don't have to, is that there is rum in the custard. And I also soaked the cake in rum, like not like so it was wet, like tres leches, but not as wet as that, but definitely got some rum into the cake, and then into the custard. And then there is a chocolate glaze of some kind, which could be a fondant, like a loose fondant, not a rolled fondant. It could be. I just made a chocolate glaze with some rum in it. And you just pour it over the top, and it's like the original naked cake, because you just let the chocolate glaze swoop down the sides, but you don't cover the sides or anything. And the other crazy thing is that it's a misnomer, because it's a cake and it's not a pie. And it may not have actually been invented in Boston either, but it is in the annals of classic cakes, where like, this is a classic cake. You don't mess with it. This is the recipe. And from that, a lot of people are familiar with like Boston cream donuts, where you take a vanilla donut and you stuff it with like pastry cream or Bavarian cream or some kind of cream, and then coat it in chocolate. And then a lot of people are familiar with that. Or an actual pie, which is like a pie crust with, I think, some kind of chocolate filling and then some whipped cream on top or something. It's been a long time since I've had that kind of Boston cream pie, but I went to culinary school, so I learned about some classic cakes, and that's one of them. And I was craving one the other day, and I made it, and you brought up Boston, and I thought this would be a great opportunity to talk about Boston cream pie.
Yeah. Oh, I have to try it sometime.
Because in my mind, I was hoping you'd be like, oh, it's so good, and then we would talk about it, but that didn't happen.
Sorry to disappoint you.
Very disappointed. So I will stop being disappointed. Let's talk about film scoring. And that's kind of a fun one, because obviously if you've got the budget, you actually have a real orchestra, but how many films these days have budget? So it's one guy with a keyboard and Cubase kind of thing. What do you look for in a film score? Who excites you the most in terms of film scores?
Well, I'm a big fan of Hans Zimmer, for sure. And not only his music, but also his approach to storytelling. In each film that he does, he knows that the most important part of everything is the story. And it's such an abstract process to turn, what you see, the emotions that you see into music, something that is not visual, but it has to be there with what's going on screen. So yeah, I really like his work. He was one of my first influences when I decided to to pursue that line of career, the career path. And yeah, nowadays, well, yeah, it's so tricky. I guess blockbusters and all that will always have some sort of budget to hire like this big orchestra and big studios. But I think what's interesting right now is that we have so many tools that allows us to kind of experiment with sound and do a little bit of hybrid scores with electronic elements and orchestral elements, and I don't know. I think it's also an advantage to have all those equipments in your home studio. So that way, maybe if you do have the budget, you can still play around a little bit in your home studio, and then when you're sure of what you're trying to convey with the instruments and everything, then you can save some time and just go right to the recording room and with a solid idea of what you want to do.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned storytelling, and I was able to watch Hans Zimmer's masterclass, so I know what you're chatting about because he spends a lot of time talking about storytelling, conversations, call and response, all these sorts of things. How do you do that in the songs that we're hearing now? Like Numb, for example.
Numb, for example. So, and that's a really good example because Numb, basically what it talks about is this very dark time in my life where I was in like a state of constant anxiety. And all of these songs in general of my album talk about that period of in my life when I was struggling with mental health. But this one in particular, I wanted it to be just complete chaos, and I wanted to convey that with the form and the strings and the voice, the lyrics. So what I did, if you noticed, is it just starts right away. There's no intro. There's no there's no heads up for what's coming. So that's kind of the way I felt like in these moments. I would just like woke up this morning and immediately I got hit by all these messy thoughts and I wanted to put that into that first verse where it's just like a lot of voices coming in and coming out. It's also layered, and if you notice also that like the first verse and the second verse are completely different. So I wanted to give that like a symmetry to make it a little bit more raw, I guess. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so the chorus is actually this one part that has like a repetitive hook, and it's just like me telling myself to just like trying to push everything away over and over again. But it's like my voice surrounded by all these like chaotic strings and the drums and all the intensity. So I think I had a lot of fun producing this one because I wanted to give out so many contrasts and so many like experimentation with my voice and what I could do with strings and form and all that.
Mm-hmm. And what's interesting in my next question is you mentioned a lot of chaos and trying to push things away, but the track is called Numb. And is numb a chaotic emotion, or how did that translate to numbness? Yeah,
so at that point in my life, I saw numbness as a shield, because everything was so like happening so fast in my head, and I felt really, really bad every single day. So I just became super tired and wary of feeling like this all the time. So I just wanted to feel nothing. It was like to make everything stop for a second so I could take a look at myself and see what's going on without feeling all these overwhelming feelings of depression and anxiety. So it's basically, I know it's kind of contrary to a lot of the other songs I know that are called Numb, because usually you want to feel something, but in this case it's a little bit the opposite side of the coin. It's numbness as a shield. Feeling nothing was good at that moment in time.
Yeah, because you mentioned just constantly pushing things away, and then we're using also the metaphor of a shield. And so I'm thinking, because I do martial arts, and one of the things that we learn is blocking, but the other, or ducking, or moving out of the way. But the other point is you can't do that forever. At some point, you're going to have to take action to end it. How did you go about ending that period?
Yeah, that's like, I'm so glad you brought that up, because it's very important to do something about it. Yeah. You can't be in a cave forever. So many things happened, but in short, like long story short, I began going to therapy, and I was very lucky to finally find like a good psychiatrist. Well, a psychiatrist that worked for me, for my personality, with whom I felt comfortable with. And we were working for a couple of months, and after that period of time, we realized that I didn't need like a psychiatric treatment. So I started doing that, and honestly, that's how my life turned around. I feel like I'm a bit of a different person than when I was writing those songs. In the sense that I have like a new perspective in things, and I feel healthier, and I've been able to take care of myself a little bit better.
Yeah, self-care.
Yeah.
How has that gone over the last year and a half or so?
I mean, it has had some challenges, of course, but I'm still going to therapy, in Skype sessions and all that, with social distancing. It's the challenging part was, I guess, that I wanted to start this project, my MONICA LYRAE project, in the middle of a pandemic. So that was that's kind of the only frustrating part, I feel, that because I cannot do live gigs, and there's like so many things I can do to actually promote the music I'm putting out there. But I've been able to keep doing my health routine. Like besides therapy, I do a little bit of home workouts every day, and I cook, and I try to eat healthy as much as I can. And when I don't feel like it, my train of thought is always like, just do the bare minimum, like so you can get through the day and feel okay with yourself. That surprisingly it has worked pretty well. Yeah.
Well,
some of the time. Yeah.
Well, I think what's great is that you mentioned things that on the surface level don't really seem that deep. Like, okay, so you're doing some working out at home, and okay, so you're doing some cooking, but it makes a massive difference. Yeah,
it really does. And right now it's been a little bit more challenging because when the pandemic started, I was living with my family, but right now I'm living on my own with my 2 cats. So,
cat lady.
Yeah, my cat lady. I'm a cat lady. But fortunately, I've been able to, stay in touch with some friends online and all that. It's so important to still have those connections in these times where we cannot see each other that much in the physical realm.
Yeah. How do you say crazy cat lady in Spanish?
Señora de los gatos.
That makes sense.
I mean, yeah.
I noticed you left the word crazy out of there, but I get it. Yeah. Señora a los gatos.
Señora loca de los gatos.
Señora loca a los gatos. I don't know. I like Señora
De
los gatos.
los gatos.
De los gatos.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Perfecto. Sweet. So we chatted about film scoring. We chatted about Hans Zimmer. We chatted about Boston Cream Pie, which was an epic fail.
Boston Cream Pie.
Yeah. Maybe there's a bakery around you that makes them. That would be fantastico. You walk in looking for Boston Cream Pie. You walk out with tres leches.
Yeah.
Which I now want to make a tres leches cake, which my wife will be very happy about. I make a lot of it when I do, so I don't like to make it, and I always want to share it. And my wife I've never seen her get so selfish before, but she's like, no.
My cake.
My cake. Like, it's an army of cake. We could feed the neighborhood with that. No. We are not feeding the army with it. Chatted about the album Spirals. We chatted about the track Numb. We chatted about the behind the scenes video that people can take a look at. So if you go to today's show notes, you can click on the link for the music videos for Numb and then the behind the scenes video for Numb. We chatted about finding a good therapist, cooking for yourself. Man, oh man. It's I could go on for a couple of days about that because the amount of processed non-necessary crap that goes into most food if you don't cook yourself, it's like tricking your body into thinking that you're getting nutrition, but you're not. And
yeah,
you know, so many like raspberry things are just colored red with citric acid. So you think that you're getting raspberry, but you're not getting any of the benefits of a raspberry. And there's benefits. It's so good. Okay.
Yeah.
Even a real Boston cream pie. I'm going to tell you right now.
Yeah.
You get good chocolate in there. There's antioxidants and endorphins and all kinds of positive things. Not saying cake is good for you, but if you make it yourself, at least you know what's in it.
That's true. And the rum.
And the rum. And the rum. Get a nice good rum. We got Boom Boo, which we decided to try. And I could taste the sugarcane in it, which was fantastic.
Nice.
Yeah. So many.
I bet it works so well with the cake.
It does. It had, from the aging, it had a little bit of vanilla flavor to it as well, which helped a lot.
Nice.
Yeah. And then, that was a big thing for me because booze a lot of times just tastes like burning, but if it's really good, you can actually taste where it came from, and I could taste it. I could taste the sugar cane and the terroir, so that was fantastic. What else we chat about? Strings, quintets, taking quintets and moving them into a pop meter, because that's a good question. How do you do that? Because classical music is on between this tempo and this tempo on a feel, whereas pop is very much like, nope, we're at 120 and you're going to stay there. So how do you do that? How do you get the emotion into that?
It's a nice challenge, but I figure that most of the time the key is rhythm. To make subdivisions and play a lot with some of ostinatos, or I always there was this one time that I did like an orchestral and choir arrangement of, I don't know if you've seen this, the opening song for Teen Titans, and since I didn't have any drums or guitars or like the rhythm section elements, what I did was like delegate those subdivisions and rhythms to the strings, and it really makes the song move forward. So I think that's the key, rhythm, for sure.
I think if you did that, you did BER covers. Speaking of Teen Titans, you did some BER covers with that. That'd be great.
BER?
Yes.
What's that?
I guess it depends on how deeply you watch Teen Titans, but there's a band that was created for Teen Titans, and they show up every now and again, and they have a couple of songs that have become like cult classics amongst some of us who watch way too much Teen Titans. And it might just be Teen Titans Go, if there's a difference.
Oh, no, I was talking about the 2000s Teen Titans.
Oh, okay. No,
Yeah.
different story, different thing. I'm sorry. I watched.
No, but that's okay.
I watch a lot of Teen Titans Go because of my son.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just glad that they're still out there, because I really liked that cartoon when I was growing up.
Yeah. For Halloween last year, which we didn't do because of obvious reasons. Maybe we'll do Halloween this year. Who knows? But we were going to do Teen Titans Go. So our dog was going to be Beast Boy. And then my wife was going to be Raven. My daughter was going to be Star. And then Gabriel, who was he going to be? I think he was going to be Robin. And we were just going to be the whole troop. I was going to be Cyborg.
That's so cool. That's so nice.
Yeah.
Like family goals right there.
That's right. Cool. Is there anything that I missed, Monica, that you wanted to chat about? You wanted to plug? You wanted to get out there?
Well, I guess not. Well, I still can't talk a lot about the whole album, Spirals, basically because I still don't know when it's going to be out there. But for sure, the four of the five singles I have out there are part of the album, so you can get a general idea of what it's going to be like. So the songs Unforgiven, The H is Silent, Along for Well, and Numb are part of Spirals. So.
Okay, but it's a mystery when it's coming out into the world.
Yeah, it's again, the pandemic has changed my plans like 1,000 times already.
Really?
So, yeah.
Wow.
So I'm just like trying to figure out when it's gonna be the right moment to do that. In the meantime, I just hope everyone is enjoying the songs that are already out there.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I'm enjoying it. I'm digging it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. De nada. Okay, there it is. Film scoring, Boston cream pie, Tres Leches cake, finding a good therapist, self-care, making your own cake. Because Teen Titans. I'll put that in there. We chatted about Teen Titans and music videos and quintets. Perfect. Well, Monica, thank you so much for coming on to the Rock Metal Podcast today.
Thank you so much for having me. It was fun.